Minaurum Silver has just delivered its first mineral resource estimate at the Alamos project in Sonora, Mexico. Now, it's a milestone that puts numbers around what the company believes is a high-grade silver district with room to grow. The estimate covers only 3 of 26 known vein zones, yet already points to more than 55 million ounces of silver equivalent in the ground. To unpack what this means, what comes next, and how investors should read this at this very early stage resource, I'm joined by Daryl Rader, President and CEO of Minaurum Silver. Daryl, thanks very much indeed for talking to us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, listen, this is Minaurum's first formal resource estimate at Alamos. In plain terms, why is this such an important milestone for the company right now?
Well, really what the maiden resource does is it quantifies what we've accomplished at the Alamos project over the last 8 years. You know, one of the things we did when we got into Alamos is we took a bit of a different exploration route than most companies take, which is basically we wanted to prove this was a district before going and actually drilling off any specific areas.
Yep.
So for about the first 5-6 years of exploring Alamos, and we're talking almost 30,000 meters of drilling, we just did pure exploration. We'd make a discovery on one of these 26 vein zones, jump to the next one. We wanted to build that inventory. And then we ended up deciding, okay, which are the key ones on this inventory of about 12 discoveries we made that we can drill off and constitutes our maiden resource. We picked 3 of them. We drilled off that 55 million ounce resource, silver equivalent. But that was on the basis of about 37,000 meters of drilling.
Yep.
So there's another 25 to 30,000 meters of drilling we've already done that has sort of created that pipeline of the next targets that will grow the resource from this point onward.
And that's very interesting because, as you say, the resource only includes 3 vein zones out of 26 identified so far, right? What does that tell you about the broader potential of the Alamos project?
Well, what it does tell us is this is definitely a district. This isn't a sort of a single isolated high-grade vein, which isn't necessarily that rare in Mexico. You can quite often find these isolated silver shoots that have some good grade, have some size. What's rare is to get clusters, large clusters of veins, as you mentioned, 26 of them.
Yep.
And each of these 26 is not so much a vein as a cluster of veins by itself. We call them stacked veins. So the nice thing is when we're drilling them and drilling off a resource, we're drilling one hole, but we're hitting sort of, multiple veins in every single hole. You're making new discoveries. You're sort of maximizing, I should say, your discoveries because you're hitting multiple veins in every hole, but also you're building ounces and tons as you drill each of these veins in a single hole. So it makes it very cost effective and it makes it easy to add ounces. And that's what we're showing the market we can do now.
Daryl, all of the ounces are currently classified as what we call inferred, right? You're going to talk to me about that. I mean, what needs to happen technically and operationally to move this resource up the confidence curve here?
So I would say as far as a greater sort of business strategy at the moment, it's not to improve the resource quality just yet. We came up with 55 million ounces. We believe that the milestone to really kind of differentiate ourselves from peers is getting over 100 million ounces. So the near-term objective is to continue drilling. We have a 50,000 meter drill program, get the resource over 100 million ounces, and then start allocating drills towards increasing the proximity of holes to raise the category of the resource. The one thing I'll just add is, this is different. Like if you're in an area of a lot of operating mines, the closeness of holes is different for an indicated resource than, let's say, it is for us where we have one mine to the north but no other operating mines nearby. So our drill hole spacing has to be tighter than, say, an indicated resource elsewhere because of the lack of sort of comparable peers in the exact vicinity. But that's something we're going to improve on come, getting over 100 million ounces. As I mentioned, we'll start working on specific zones of our resources to upgrade them.
I've seen that you've highlighted the high-grade nature of the system and its resilience at higher cutoff grades, right? I mean, why does grade matter so much for future economics in a silver project? The answer is obvious, but I mean, you sit down and think about this, it really is a positive, isn't it?
It's a positive. There used to be an old bumper sticker when I started in the industry back in the early 2000s that said, grade pays, tons cost. And it is an adage that, is very important when you're doing underground mining. And this is definitely, we're fully permitted for underground mining at the Alamos project. So this is an underground mining amenable project where grade really comes into play. Is naturally the higher the grade, the less tons you need to get a bigger resource, but also, the more tons you have is the more you're exposed to cost inflation. The more you have to extract is the more oil, the more steel, the more consumables you have to use. So where the higher grade comes into play is it doesn't just give you the high margin of producing, but also, gives you the higher productivity, higher profitability, less cost. Then the other thing to note too is in veins, especially at Alamos, our veins are pretty wide. Our resource spanned two major veins zones. The one was on average about 5 to 6 meters wide. The other one was just over 3 meters wide. Average underground mining widths for dilution purposes in Mexico are typically 1.5 meters, so 1.5 meters wide, 1.5 meters tall. So these veins don't require, extra dilution in order to be produced from. They are bigger than the minimum is necessary to access them. So that once again is just something else that increases the profitability and of eventually mining these when the time comes.
Yeah. All right, listen, let's talk about finally what should investors be watching out for as 2026 unfold. I mean, they'll be looking for key value drivers. What should our eyes be on there?
I think the key catalysts moving forward are definitely our drill results. All of our drill results for the maiden resource have already been announced. So from this point forward, we're really focusing on expansion. We're not doing infill drilling, as I mentioned. We're simply trying to get this resource as big as we can, as quickly as we can. So the internal objective is getting to over 100 million ounces sometime second half of this year. We have a fully funded 50,000-meter drill program that should get us there. So we're going to start seeing drill results from that pretty quickly. As far as a major catalyst, that's obviously second half of the year, an updated resource. We have sort of, not such, I guess, market-moving catalysts that we will be getting out, but things that keep the industry eyes on us. Those are more development-related catalysts that we're working on behind the scenes. As I mentioned, we are fully permitted for mining, but we're still doing a lot of surveying work, processing kind of infrastructure, road construction, water usage, explosives permits. There's a lot of those kind of smaller items that aren't necessarily, stock-moving catalysts, but they're the kinds that, the ultimate end game here is to have some major come and take a look at you. Those are the kind of catalysts the majors like to see, you actively de-risking the project outside of just the drill bit.
Yeah, whether or not that environment is fertile that makes this thing really having a good future is what you're talking about. Yeah, no, I get it. Well, thanks very much. Daryl Rader is the president and CEO of Minaurum Silver. Daryl, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Have a good day.